Just finished up on Fox Business News talking to Neil Cavuto about all of this, but Robert Hur, the special prosecutor who was involved in the investigation of Joe Biden related to classified documents that were found in his garage, issued a special report, 345 pages, essentially stating that Joe Biden did possess classified information, violation of the Espionage Act, but could not be prosecuted because he is elderly, because he couldn't remember a lot of the answers to the questions. That is the pressing news on Capitol Hill today, and that is what Robert Hur is answering questions about. How can you determine that a president of the United States committed criminal offenses under the Espionage Act, but then find that that person should not be prosecuted as a result of their age, infirmity, lack of mental capacity? Just finished up on Fox Business, but I'm going to give you the scoop on why this is problematic under the laws of the United States right now. If you or I were a criminal defendant in a criminal case and we lacked mental capacity, we could still be charged, but a motion would be filed. And that motion would say that we lack the ability to understand the consequences of our actions, and therefore we should be considered insane and not culpable, meaning not guilty for the criminal offense. That motion would be filed, and after that, the government, according to the law as it stands right now, would be able to take the defendant into custody for an assessment to determine whether or not that's the case, and then determine whether or not charges should be dismissed because the person is insane. You heard that right. If you lack mental capacity, you can still be charged. You file a motion, you go into the custody of the Attorney General, and they determine whether or not you actually have mental capacity. Instead of that, Robert Hur stops short. What he says is, I don't think I can get a conviction. We saw the same thing with respect to Hillary Clinton. We had a classified server with classified emails on it that was investigated. And then we had James Comey come out from the FBI. He wasn't an attorney. He was not special counsel. And he said, well, he was an attorney, but he wasn't acting as one at the time. And he said, yes, there were issues here with the storage of these emails, but no, there was no crime. The same thing happened in Robert Hur's report. Now, what Democrats are lambasting Hur for is essentially, they believe that he was saying that there is evidence of a crime here, and he was trying to get himself a position as a federal judge in the Trump administration by saying there was criminal activity. That couldn't be further from the truth. The real issue here is whether or not we have two systems of justice, one in which you are a former President, Donald Trump, and you are prosecuted based on these alleged offenses at Mar-a-Lago and lack of cooperation with the federal government, and another in which you are President of the United States who's in control of the Department of Justice and Merrick Garland, and you are not prosecuted because you sat down during an interview and you said, I don't know, and you told some stories. Now, I'm going to tell you and give you a bit of an inside scoop as to why that happened to Joe Biden during the interview. He sat down with special counsel. The interview was conducted towards the tail end of the investigation, and I'm sure he was prepped by his lawyers on how he should act during the interview. And I'm sure he was given guidance. You need to seem weak. You need to seem feeble. You need to seem like you can't remember. That will force you to answer questions in that way, as opposed to admitting knowledge of classified records inside of your house. So the I don't know answers were not put there because he was mentally infirm or not capable of forming intent. The reason why Joe Biden sat down during an interview with Robert Hur and said, I don't know a bunch of times, is to avoid providing evidence of his knowledge to a special prosecutor who was investigating him in a case. Now, I think we all know why Robert Hur conducted the investigation the way he did and why he wrote the report the way he did. He's a Republican. He was appointed by Merrick Garland during a Democrat's administration, President Biden. Now, certainly, he doesn't want to piss off the Democrats by issuing a report that says he should be prosecuted or there is culpability. And he doesn't want to issue a report that certainly goes against Donald Trump, who might be the frontrunner and eventual next president of the United States. So what does he do? He cuts right down the middle. He finds culpability, a gift to Trump that helps him in his Florida case, but he finds that he can't be prosecuted, a gift to Biden that allows him to age gracefully out of office and move on with his life. That's what Robert Hur did. But the problem with that, as Representative McClintock indicated, and as I said on Neil Cavuto's show, the problem with that is that type of precedent that it sets with our justice system. If any one of my clients lack mental capacity, they've got to file a motion and they've got to fight. And I've had that happen before, and that is a very tough fight. But apparently, when a president of the United States lacks mental capacity, he gets to say, I don't remember, I don't know, it's tough to prosecute, but he doesn't lose his job because he lacks mental capacity. This man has his finger on the button of nuclear weapons. He has control over the most powerful military that the world has ever seen. He has enough power in his hands to destroy the world 1,000 times over. But we have a prosecutor saying that he doesn't know enough and is not intelligent enough and is not culpable enough to understand the consequences of his actions. My issue here is not just with whether or not Biden should be prosecuted. My issue here is what this says about the Department of Justice, what this says about prosecutions. We are seeing the political weaponization of our Department of Justice. That entity, which is supposed to be aligned with the people and designed to protect the public from harm, has now become a sword that can be wielded by any political party in a manner that sees fit without precedent in order to do the aims of that political party. We spend millions of dollars, billions of dollars on investigations that should have never happened instead of protecting our people. We see valuable tax dollars go towards political prosecutions, the Trump prosecutions, the Biden investigation, and what we really should have is an overhaul of our entire storage of classified information occurring. Something useful done by the government, maybe less secrets, maybe more open exchange of information, instead of wielding the Espionage Act against one president of the United States and one former president of the United States. We focus on what really matters, on protecting the people of the United States and only securing those secrets that really need to be secrets. One thing absent from both of these investigations is the indication of any harm. Old classified material that doesn't have the potential to harm the public is what we've spent billions of dollars investigating right now, and that's unfortunate. Now, I'm not saying no harm, no foul. A violation is a violation is a violation. But when we have an entire system that is designed to protect classified information, but much of it is really just protected in order to allow federal agencies and the military to silo information and prevent it from use by other people, what are we really protecting and what benefit is the American public getting out of these investigations and prosecutions? That's the sad thing about Robert Hur's testimony today. That's the sad thing about his report. That's the sad thing about an entire prosecution going down in Florida related to these classified records. These are political issues. These are not issues of public importance. These are not issues that will fix our borders or allow better healthcare in the United States or allow people to live their lives more freely and more successfully. These are political prosecutions and essentially a waste, and they shouldn't occur.